Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me again here. Wherever you happen to find yourself on this wild, wobbling, spinning ball of rock. Yeah. Yeah, one of the neat things, and it's really very cool, is that we're able to reach one another with this technology that we're making use of, no matter where we happen to live in the world, no matter what time it is. And these recordings just kind of live out there, wherever out there actually is. So, wherever you find yourself, geographically or in terms of your age or your social status or whatever, doesn't make any difference. Doesn't make any difference what your religious or spiritual background is or used to be. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you've found this recording amidst all of the other content that's out there. I mean, you're here, and that's huge. But that should tell you everything you need to know. In other words, there's a message here for you from the Holy Spirit. Makes no difference if you're a student of A Course in Miracles or not. You don't have to be in order to benefit from what's going to appear to come out of this pixelated image's mouth. And I stress that's really all you're looking at here. So, where we are here is for the last couple of years, maybe more. I don't really know. I've lost count. We've been going through the text of A Course in Miracles. This series of videos that you're watching began 4.5 years ago in January of 2021. Started out as a live stream on the platform, the online platform Enlightened World Network. And after about 6 months of live streams, we decided that we'd just air recordings. And well, that's what you're watching right here, wherever you happen to find yourself. And it makes no difference, again, whether you're a course student at all, or whether you're a beginning student somewhere in between, or a long time veteran. If you're one of those, a long time course student, you'll know that it's worth having a beginner's mind. In other words, approaching every discussion as though you've never heard the material, ever. Why is that beneficial? Well, our preconceived notions tend to get in our way. How many times have you approached a subject that you had seen before or studied previously and thought you knew everything there was to know about it and that you had nothing to learn? So you were instantly closed off from minute one. That doesn't serve us. So we're invited to come to this discussion, to come to town, so to speak, with a beginner's mind. It's a concept that's well known in spirituality. In fact, one of the most interesting spiritual books that I've ever read was the Zen master Suzuki Roshi's book, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. Yes, he also said something in that book that's very true. You know something before you learn it. Yeah, and you know what that is. Before it becomes clear to you, before you learn it, you actually already know everything that you need to know about yourself, about what appear to be others. What we're doing in learning this is we're setting all of the veils aside, all of the obscurations and all of the blockages that we ourselves have put up to our vision of who we really are, of who our brother really is, of who we all really are, of reality itself. We've obscured it. We've walled ourselves off, or if you prefer, we've thrown a veil over our face. We've blindfolded ourselves, and we're removing the blindfold. We call that learning. So here in the world, learning requires contrasts for us. There is no contrast in heaven. God is, period. What is implicit in that very simple statement matters greatly for us as learners here. And what's implicit there is that only God is. God is the only reality. All else is illusion. And there's no separation of any kind. We are not separate from God. He's the creator. We are the created, but in our creation, he extended himself. Yes, yes, most definitely. And we're not a physical body, though that's what we appear to inhabit and run amok as. And it's what we appear to injure and feed and take care of very well, sometimes very poorly, other times alternating back and forth between the two, maybe. That's not who we really are. And you know that, or you would not be interested in spirituality in the first place. And you certainly wouldn't be interested in this course, which kind of spells it out for you. It's very uncompromising. Guess what? You deserve nothing less. Have you not danced around enough? I mean, maybe you haven't, and maybe you will continue to do that. I don't know. I don't really know. But many people come to the study and practice of A Course in Miracles from a standpoint of seemingly having tried everything, having done this, done that, been raised in a tradition that you moved away from because it didn't serve you any longer or something, right? Everybody's experience appears to be different, but you're here. That's what matters. So what we do here in our learning is there's no sense of contrast in heaven at all. It's completely one and completely constant. Oh, and more joyful than we can possibly imagine. And I hope you can imagine quite a lot more than that. So we may get glimpses of it here and there, but here as we appear to be here, inhabiting this wobbling spinning ball of rock, which is not our real home. We're perfectly at home in God as the extension of God, i.e., the thought of God ideas leave not their source. Capital S, thank you. Yeah. Allow yourself to sit with that one as much as you're able to do. That's why I say it nearly every time. You deserve to hear it a lot. It would be very kind of you to accept that and to resonate with it, to sit with it, let it permeate your mind. So, what we're offered here in this course, what we're offered here by our inner teacher, is a single choice. We have need of contrast, so there is a big contrast between love and fear. And it's among those two things that we choose. Every other choice that we appear to make is a derivative of this one choice. One choice with exactly two mutually exclusive options that don't hang out and go to the bar together. They don't get together for a wild Friday night, and they don't play golf together. They are mutually exclusive. So we choose right now, in the present moment, the Holy Spirit or the ego, love or fear, life or death. Mm, yes, truth or illusion, God or the ego, forgiveness and joy or guilt and continued recycled guilt, again and again and again. That's the choice. So the Course draws a marked contrast between the two so that we may choose right now joy, love, life. If you chose death, guilt, hate, blame, rage, continual frustration and fear, no worries. Choose right now. Choose joy. You have the opportunity. We all have the opportunity to choose right now. And we can choose along these lines how we see ourselves. See, we have a very fearful and frightening self concept when we see ourselves as an individual ego. We see ourselves as a human body encased in a human body, which is simply not who we really are. Yet we've managed to convince ourselves and others that, yeah, this is exactly who I am. Dude, what are you talking about? Well, you're not a body, and you know that. Doesn't mean that you have to agree. Who cares if you agree or not? You're still watching. You're not a body. It's okay to resist. It's part of the path. Who has not resisted? We're still apparently here having this conversation because of our habitual, ingrained, and extraordinarily stubborn resistance. All resistance is of the ego. It's the ego that resists, that does not want you to recognize the truth of who and what you are, what your brother is, which is the same thing. That essential oneness, the ego would rather have you believe and adhere to this wild and weird concept of multiplicity, millions and billions and trillions of individual self-sustaining survival units. What does that even mean? It's a term I love. I cannot claim credit in any way for coining that phrase. I saw it back in the 1990s on a woman's resume. And at the time, that was 30 years ago, I thought, okay, well, that's pretty clever. How cool, right? Individual self-sustaining survival unit. Well, fast forward to the the mid 2020s. It's the year 2025 in the Gregorian calendar right now. Whatever that actually means, as in made up, made up, nothing. So whatever that actually means, fast forward and individual self-sustaining survival unit describes the ego perfectly. It's who we think we are. Now, if we were willing, even for a second, to raise that to question, a lot of things would begin to happen. And if we were willing to continue to raise this to question, if we were willing to allow the sight of even one brother, one what appears to be other person, to dawn and our sight as wholly and completely worthy of forgiveness. If we saw even one other person as completely worthy of forgiveness, our fearful self-concept would switch and vanish immediately. We see ourselves as individuals. We think our brother's going to come get our stuff, so we want to lash out and preemptively strike. Or if he appears to strike first, strike back. It's attack, 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 plot, plan, scheme. It's exhausting. I mean, it is. We all know that because it's our, well, shared experience. when we think we're individuals. So our concept of ourselves is fearful. Why? As you see your brother, you see yourself. If you see your brother as fearful and a vindictive dude or lady, you can use worse language if you want to, and we all do. But if you see your brother as unworthy of forgiveness, so you see yourself. Why? Your brother is you. There's no separation of any kind. There's only perfect oneness. He can't be, she can't be an individual, nor you. No, if we see even one brother, one person, as wholly worthy, totally and completely worthy of forgiveness, so we see ourself, and that fearful self-concept shifts to a loving, forgiving, and profoundly grateful self-concept. So that is the work here as we study and practice A Course in Miracles. Forgiveness, true forgiveness, as this course teaches it, it's what we do. And when you start to do it, you'll begin to see everything differently. Yourself, your brother, the world itself, everything will appear differently. You'll begin to see your brother as more than just a body, more than what he does for a living or that she does for a living or what he or she says, more than their height, weight, all of those things, these characteristics that we would admit to ourselves, even here in the world, in ego land, as superficial, most definitely. We begin to see him as more than just that. As you do, you see yourself as more than just that. All that's really required of us, because this may seem like it's far off and far-fetched, a pipe dream, weird, ganja-induced, ridiculous, extremely creative, and wrong. If you're entertaining those thoughts, not a problem. We all have entertained those thoughts, or we wouldn't still appear to be here. This conversation would not be happening at all. It would not be in any way, shape, or form even necessary. All that's asked of us is that we're willing to make this shift, that we're willing to have this happy shift occur in our self-concept from fearful to loving, from fearful to forgiving. Just the willingness to have that happen is what we bring. That's all that's required, is our willingness. A Course in Miracles mentions what it refers to as a little willingness throughout, is what we bring to the table. A willingness to see things as they really are, a willingness to learn, yes, and a willingness to be shown, to be led, to be directed. Jesus, many consider to be one of the all-time, well, leaders, the ultimate leaders. You want to know why he's considered that? Because he considers himself, and was when he was walking around 2,000 years ago, the ultimate follower. He listened to the Holy Spirit and nothing else. Total follow, total leader. Hmm. Yeah, same. So what would happen if we began to trust more, right? What would happen if we begin to actively and intentionally cultivate forgiveness, the practice of relaxing and trusting the guidance of our inner teacher? What if we trusted a little bit more? We'd see things that much differently. It's a happy change from fear to love. And all we have to bring is just this little willingness to have that take place. Really, to have that change occur is all that we need to bring to the table. Our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, does the rest. We just show up with this willingness. And it may seem like it makes sense in this kind of a context. I mean, things often do. They seem to make more sense to us in the context of a workshop or a talk or a video. And then when we go about, get off the cushion, off the mat, so to speak, and go out into our daily lives, it seems to be obscure. What had seemed so clear now no longer seems so clear at all. We can all relate to that experience. So, this is the reason for all of this repetition, why we keep coming back to the same ideas over and over again. People have said that, well, A Course in Miracles has a certain number of core ideas that it repeats over and over again for well over 1,000 pages when you put all the components together. Yeah, of course. We need that repetition. We need it as adult learners. And all too often, we come to town, so to speak, with this petulant attitude. This really, it's quite immature, isn't it? When we're really honest with ourselves, this attitude of, I've already seen that. I know that already. I don't have anything to learn. Well, remember, beginner's mind. Approach each situation as though you're viewing it for the first time. Childlike, if you prefer, full of wonder and curiosity, setting aside this ego voice of, you've already seen this, you don't need this, you don't need it, but you do. We all do. And we hear things over and over again because you never know. It may be the 985th time that you hear the exact same idea that, boom, the light bulb goes on and you get it. What if that's today? Very possibly could be. We never know. And if you've been on this path or any spiritual path for a length of time, which I think most of us have, or we wouldn't be watching this video for sure, we can relate to that. To all of a sudden something just resonated, or you just kind of got it one day. It seemed to come from nowhere, right? I think many of us, if not most, or all of us, have had those experiences along the way, and we don't know when we're going to have them, which is why we continue to show up and do this over and over again. Okay, well, I thank you for taking the time out of your day or evening, wherever you find yourself. And I also would like to point out that questions are always welcome. They're more than welcome here. So this comment thread on YouTube is an excellent place to ask questions if you have them. And please do go ahead and subscribe if you have not yet. This prompt that you see over here in the corner of your screen, that red and white arrow thingy that's been up, is the way to do that. Just click or hover over that, subscribe and join us. And thank you to those of you who have recently joined us. Several videos appear each week, and it is, of course, an international community. So I thank you wherever you are from, whatever your background is, for tuning in today. Again, subscribe, please, if you have not, and I will see you again on the next video.